Hey everybody, this is Chapter 2, Section 4. Title is Solving Equations with Variables on Both Sides. Starts on page 102. I don't like having variables on both sides of my equal sign, so I have to get rid of one of them. Variables happen all the time in algebra, and a lot of people don't like variables, so having a variable on both sides, that's just too much, so we have to try to figure out what to do with it. Here's the steps that you need to follow. First of all, find the variable that has the biggest coefficient. Remember, the coefficient is the number in front of the variable, so you're looking for the biggest number in front of a variable. You're going to use inverses to move everything that has a variable to that side of the equal sign. Okay? On the other side, you're going to put all the constants, the numbers that are by themselves. Those are constants. So you're going to have everything with a variable on one side, you're going to have everything that doesn't have a variable on the other side. Then you're going to use the same steps that we've been using all chapter long in order to solve the problem. Here's first example. What is the solution of 7k plus 2 equals 4k minus 10? Okay, you see you have variables on both sides. We don't like that. We need to get rid of one of them. Okay? Which one has the biggest coefficient? 7k has a coefficient of 7. 4k has a coefficient of 4. The 7 is bigger than the 4, so we want all of the variables on the same side as the 7k. So if I've got this 4k over here, that's a positive 4k. What do I have to do in order to get rid of a positive 4k? Well, I need the inverse, which would be a negative 4k. So I'm going to do that to both sides. I put a negative 4k on both sides. The reason why I do that is because a positive 4k and a negative 4k are inverses, so they cancel. Now I need to simplify. 7k minus 4k, 7 minus 4 gives me 3, so that's 3k. I haven't done anything with the plus 2, so it comes along. I haven't done anything with minus 10, so it comes along. Now I can use the same steps I've done all chapter. K is my variable. It's being multiplied by 3. It's being added by 2. I need to get rid of the adding 2 first because it's farthest away. The inverse of adding 2 is subtracting 2. So I'm going to do that to both sides. Adding 2 and subtracting 2 cancel because they're inverses. On the left, I have 3k. On the right, negative 10 minus 2 gives me negative 12. My variable is not by itself. It's being multiplied by 3. The inverse of that is dividing by 3, and I have to do that to both sides. Multiplying by 3 and dividing by 3 are inverses, so they cancel. I have k on the left. Negative 12 divided by 3 gives me negative 4 on the right. There is my answer. My variable is by itself. That's what I was trying to do. If I want, I can plug it back into the original problem to check my answer. Word problem. Pristine Printing will print business cards for 10 cents each, plus a setup charge of $15. Printing Place offers business cards for 15 cents each, with a setup charge of $10. What number of business cards cost the same from either printer? So let's look and try to figure out what we're trying to find first. Okay? What are we trying to find in this problem? The question says, what number of business cards? So we're trying to find a number of business cards. Okay? Next, what do we know in this problem? Well, we know that one company has cards for 10 cents each. We know that they have a setup charge of $15. The other company, business cards for 15 cents each, setup charge of $10. That's what we know. Next, define a variable. Define a variable means pick a variable and tell me what it stands for. Well, we're trying to find a number of cards, so let's say that C equals cards. Okay, that would be defining a variable. What letter are you using and what does it stand for? Next, we have to write an equation. Okay. So we've got two companies here. Let's look at the Pristine Printing first. 10 cents each. 10 cents for each card. So that would be like 0.10, that's 10 cents. And then for each card. In math, for each means multiply. So 10 cents times C. Plus, there's a setup charge of $15. Do I have to pay that $15 for every single card, or do I just have to pay that once? Well, I only have to pay that once for my order, so that's just plus 15. There's no C on it. Okay? For Printing Place, their cards are 15 cents each. $0.15 for each card, and their setup charge is $10. Now, if we look at the question again, what number of business cards costs the same? Same cost. Same means equal. So I need an equal sign in there. There is my equation. Now I solve. Okay. I'm going to slide up over here. I'm not going to clear decimals like I did in the last problem, or in the last lesson. We can just do it like this. Again, I have variables on both sides. I don't like that. I want to get rid of one of them. So I have 0.10 on the left in front of my C. I have 0.15 on the right in front of my C. 0.15 is bigger, so I want to move all of my variables to the right. I have a positive 0.10C, so the inverse is a negative 0.10C, and I need to do that to both sides. Positive 0.10 and negative 0.10 are inverses, so they cancel. All I have on the left is 15, and I'm going to move it up here so I have more space. On the right, 0.15 minus 0.10 gives me 0.05C, and I haven't done anything with plus 10 yet, so it just comes along. C is my variable. It's being multiplied by 0.05. It's being added by 10. I need to get rid of the adding 10 first. The inverse of adding 10 is subtracting 10, and I have to do that from both sides. Those are inverses, so they cancel. So on the left I have 5, and on the right I have 0.05C. My variable is not by itself yet. It's being multiplied by 0.05, so I need to do the inverse, which is divide by 0.05. Do that to both sides. Multiplying and dividing are inverses, so those can cancel. And I have C on the right. On the left, grab my calculator. 5 divided by 0.05 gives me 100. So what that means is, if I buy exactly 100 cards from both companies, the cost is going to be exactly the same. Next problem. Okay, in this problem we have variables on both sides. There's a 2y on the left, there's a y on the right, but what else do you see? Parentheses with a number in front. That means we're going to have to distribute first. Okay, so we're going to distribute first. 4 times 2 gives me 8y. 4 times 1 is 4. There's also distributive property on the other side. 2 times y is 2y. 2 times negative 13 is negative 26. So I got the distributive property out of the way. Now I have variables on both sides, 8y and 2y. Which one has the bigger coefficient? The 8 is bigger than the 2, so I want to move all my variables to the side that has the 8. I need to get rid of this 2y. So in order to get rid of a positive 2y, I need a negative 2y. And I also have to do it on the other side. Positive 2y and negative 2y are inverses, so they cancel. On the right-hand side, I have negative 26. On the left, 8y minus 2y is 6y. I haven't done anything with the 4 yet, so it comes along. My variable is y. It's being multiplied by 6 and added by 4. I need to get rid of the adding 4, and the inverse of that is subtracting 4. Do it from both sides. The inverses cancel. On the left, I have 6y. On the right, negative 26 and negative 4 gives me negative 30. The variable is not by itself. It's being multiplied by 6. So I need to divide by 6. Both sides. Inverses cancel. Negative 30 divided by 6 is negative 5. My variable is by itself, so that's my answer. Again, I can plug it back into the original problem in order to check it. Next topic. Definition. An equation that is true for every possible value of the variable is called an identity. We used the identity property earlier. It's the same word. We're using it a little bit differently, so don't get the two confused. Okay? Here's what it means if we have an identity. If you follow all of the steps that we've used so far, and all your variables cancel out, so all you have left at the end is numbers. It's not like x equals 2 or x equals 7. There's no variables left. If that happens and you get something that's true, the answer that you write down is the word identity. Okay? On the other hand, if you follow all the steps, all of your variables cancel, and you get something that's false, the answer is no solution. So, if you get something that's true, identity. If you get something that's false, no solution. Remember, in order for that to be the case, all of your variables have to cancel. I'll show you what I mean. 2 examples left. Here's the first one. What is the solution of that equation? First thing you notice, distributive property. So we have to take care of that. 3 times 4 is 12b. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. On the other side, we have negative 6 plus 12b. That just stays the same. I have variables on both sides. Look for the biggest coefficient. Well, on the left, the coefficient is 12. On the right, the coefficient is 12. They're the same. I can move it to any side that I want. Okay? I'm going to move all my variables to the left. So I need to get rid of adding 12b, and in order to do that, I need to subtract 12b, and I need to do that to both sides. On the right, inverses cancel. Adding 12b and subtracting 12b, those cancel. On the left, I have 12b minus 12b. Well, those are inverses too. They also cancel. All I have left is negative 6 equals negative 6. All of my variables canceled. All I have left in my problem is numbers. And is that something that's true or false? Is negative 6 equal to negative 6? Sure it is. So that's true. What do I write down if the answer I get is true? The word identity. That is the answer to this problem. It's an identity. It doesn't matter what I plug in for b. If I go back to the original problem, if I plug in the number 1 for b on both sides, I get something that's true. If I plug in the number negative 17 for b on both sides, I'm going to get something that's true. No matter what I plug in, I'm always going to get an answer that is true. Okay, one example left. You can probably figure out where we're going with it. What is the solution of 2x plus 7 equals negative 1 times the quantity 3 minus 2x? Distributive property on the right. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. Negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2x. Negative times negative is positive. On the left-hand side, I didn't do anything, so nothing changes. Okay. Now I have variables on both sides. Look for the biggest coefficient. Coefficient on the left is a 2. Coefficient on the right is a 2. They're the same, so I can do whichever I want. I'm going to get rid of the one on the right. So the inverse of adding 2x is subtracting 2x. Have to do that to both sides. Those cancel because they are inverses. On the left, 2x minus 2x. 2 minus 2 is 0, so those also cancel. And all I have left in this problem is 7 equals negative 3. Is 7 equal to negative 3? Of course not, no. So that would be false. What do I write if I get something, if all my variables cancel and I get something that's false? My answer is no solution. So when I have an equation like this, there's three possibilities. I can get a normal answer, like x equals 7 or a equals 3. Okay, that's a normal answer. I can get identity. I can get no solution. Those are the three possibilities. Practice problems for this section. There's only 7 of them.